Hey, it's Donna Joy Asher. Yesterday in my Facebook Live, I talked about the number one thing that you need to be doing to protect your business, so to protect your online business and the greatest asset of your online business, which is your audience. And I talked about how that can be taken away from you in the blink of an eye if the social media platform that you're on takes a dislike to what you're doing, or worst case scenario, if that social media platform was to close down, you would lose everything if you were purely relying on traffic that you did not own and you did not control. I talked about how all the online gurus, they use social media for one very strategic purpose, which is to take that traffic that they don't own and they don't control and to turn it into traffic that they do own. So traffic that they can put themselves in front of whenever they want to put themselves in front of them. And traffic where they're not having to rely on social media to actually show their posts to people. And I talked about the difference between, for instance, putting a post on your fan page, which might only get shown to, if you're lucky, 5% of the people that are interested in your page, versus email open rate, which people think is woeful at 17%. Of course, it can be higher than that. That's industry standard, so normally 17%. But if you then are considering, you're comparing that 17% against that 5%, knowing that the other 83% of those emails actually did get delivered. Okay, so most of the people that you sent that email to got that email delivered to them, and then they got to choose whether or not they wanted to open it. So you can actually control that open rate by having fantastic subject headlines, by developing rapport by them, by being a personality that they want to hear from. Whereas with Facebook and Facebook posts, you don't even get to put it in front of 100% of the people, so they get to choose. So you can see when we're talking about this audience that you control and that you own versus audience that you don't control and that you don't own, that you need, if you want to safeguard your business and create a truly sustainable and predictable and scalable business, you need to be starting to build an email list. You need to be starting to own your audience so that you can tell them where you're going to be. You can show up in front of them. If the social media platforms change, if everybody decides they don't want to be on Facebook anymore, but they want to be over here, you can go over there and then tell them where you are so you can control the traffic. And then you can also email them. Now, there's one very, very simple way to do this. There's one very, very simple way to take traffic that you don't own and turn it into traffic that you do, and that is with a simple lead generation funnel. So what does this mean? This means that we're going to give people something of value. So we're going to use attraction marketing to give people something of value, and then we're going to collect their email address in exchange. So it's like it's still a value exchange where you're giving them something and you're getting their email. Rather than money, you're getting their email address and their details so that you can then start to put your stuff in front of them. And this something of value is obviously something tailored towards them, tailored towards very specifically to what their pains and frustrations are. So we're doing a couple of things here. Not only are we starting to control our traffic, but we're also showing up in front of these people as somebody that can help them. That's very, very powerful. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about the actual lead generation part of it, the front part of it. So we have two parts of it. We have the bait and then we have the hook. So the bait is what you're going to offer them, and the hook is how you're going to get their details. So I want to talk about lead magnets, because lead magnets are the bait. So what exactly is a lead magnet? Well, a lead magnet is something of value that you're going to offer them. So something that's going to answer a bit of a pain or a problem they have, a frustration. It's going to scratch their itch without totally solving it, and it's going to give them value to the point where you're showing them that you can help them. Now, lead magnets are something that you can craft, and then you can have this whole system automated so that they just get it. They get that from you. Or you could do something like a 5-day challenge or something that's a lot more active, where you're then actually showing up as a person that's helping them, almost like one-to-many. So examples of lead magnets are PDFs, free trainings, free videos, 5-day challenges. So anything where you're offering them something that they want enough to give you their email for is a lead magnet. Now, there are a specific set of rules that I have for myself when I'm creating lead magnets, and I just wanted to give them to you now. So the first thing that you need to know about lead magnets is that it must allow you to show up as the expert. So it must allow you to show up as that expert that can help them. It must have a name that tells them how it is going to solve their problem. And then it must actually give them value. So it's not just enough to get their email address. You actually have to give them value. You actually have to show up so that they want to keep hearing from you. They want to keep getting your emails, and eventually they want to work with you. Now, it must also have a graphic that makes it look really sexy and desirable, because it's like with food, we eat with our eyes, right? So the same with this, if you give them a graphic that looks really sexy, then they're going to want that lead magnet. Now, it must scratch their itch without solving the problem, and that's a big one, because when we first start doing this, when we first start out online, we want to give everything. We want to give everything that we can, and we end up giving so much that we actually have nothing left to exchange for money, okay? And the whole aim of having an online business is that eventually you're exchanging value for money, so that you actually got an income. We don't do this to do it for free. We do this so that one day we can have the life and the business that we dream of while also helping people. So it must scratch their itch while not solving their problem. And here's a big one with lead magnets. It must not be too big. It must not be, the thought of it must not be overwhelming. So you might want to write a massive book, a 300-page book on how you can solve their problem, but they're not going to want to read that. They want a cheat sheet. They want a PDF. They want something fast and consumable. And you want to create something that they're actually going to read, that they're actually going to look at, so they can see that you are that person that can help them. If you give them an ebook, I guarantee you maybe 0.5% of them are actually going to look at it, because they're going to be like, oh, it's a book, okay, I'll read that later. And later never comes, because by then their eye has been distracted by somebody else offering to help them, and they're often running in shiny object syndrome, and they never come back to that ebook, and then they end up working with somebody else. So don't make your lead magnets too big. Make sure that they are congruent with what your offer is, your product is. That's another thing. You don't want to do a bait and switch, offer them a lead magnet for something and then be offering to help them in a totally different way. Okay? It has to be congruent, and it has to naturally flow into the value ladder of your business. So it has to be that natural first stepping stone that they take to do business with you. And then the next step is to work with you maybe on a lower tier item. And then the next step is work with you, so maybe one-to-many, and then one-to-one. So it must be the first thing that is going to lead them into your value ladder of ever-increasing products that you have within your business, or that you're going to create within your business. So it must make sense. Okay, tomorrow we are going to go through the second part of your simple lead generation funnel. We're going to talk about the actual funnel itself, and specifically the opt-in page, because that's the really important part. You have to have a great opt-in page that's going to catch their attention and make them want to give you their details. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. You guys have a wonderful day.